Alright, hello guys, welcome back to the new edition of this channel. If you are familiar with most of our activities regarding to predicting basketball, you know that we always have two strategies. We always apply two strategies, which happens to be the classical and the risky line stroke save line method. And these particular predictions that you guys are seeing on your screen, which happens to be three odd, it happens to be a strategy that I just applied when I was kind of a little bit confused. We are currently having limited games in basketball these days, since most of the regular basketball leagues haven't really started. So unless maybe probably weekends, and these particular weekends we are going to look into most of these particular games that we have. At least during the weekend we always have enough games in basketball to actually look into. So we are going to use this method of using the bookmakers odd. We are going to use the bookmakers odds against them, and we are going to use it to get something very similar to this, because naturally, if you know me very well, if you have been following me very well, you will know that predicting under points in basketball is not my thing. But by using the bookmakers odd, I confidently use the under point. And the one thing about basketball is that it is a very risky market or risky sport. They are inconsistent. You know, sometimes the stats that you will analyze may not align with the outcome of the game. So now it depends on the situation during the match. And sometimes I notice that the bookmakers always have access to informations that we may not be able to access, and these informations always help them in order allocation. Alright, so without wasting much of our time, we are going to use the bookmakers odds to predict a weekend long basketball tips. Alright, so let us look at the games that we have on Saturday, and probably we can look into the games that we have on Sunday. But if the time does not permit us, we are going to look into games that we have on Saturday alone. And let's see if we can actually accumulate up to like at least 100 odds in this particular edition. Alright, so let us check the line. Alright, now, so let me just quickly make this fast. So we are going to look into, let me see the total numbers of games that we have tomorrow, because not all the games that we have that we are going to predict actually. We will look into mostly the major leagues and some leagues that the bookmakers are providing the line. Right, so let us start with this Mexico League games before moving on to the USA WNBA and moving on to the Australia League. So let us check this one. Okay, so yeah, this is how I do it. Let me show you guys. So what I do is that after using this over or under point, then I do it like this. You can see the lowest line here is 1.21 odd, that is 165.5, and the highest line here is 191, and the odd allocated to it happens to be 1.24 odd. Now this is what I always do. The middle line, this happens to be the lines that the bookmakers are providing for us. The middle line happens to be what I always look into. That is where that happens to be the line whereby the over point and the other under point seems to be very close to each other. So if you decide to go for the games on this line, let me show you the line where the okay, yes, this happens to be the average line point. You can see if you go for over 178.5, you will lose. If you go for this, maybe let's say you want to practice by going for over point and under point, the bookmakers will be at profit, but yeah, we're having it as the same line, so I'm going to skip this. Let us use this one. Okay, I will assume this to be the average line. Yeah, I will assume this to be the average line. You can see the over point and the under point average line seems to be very close. The odd allocated to this line seems to be very close, and you will notice that from this average line the bookmakers are supporting under point, and that is the reason why the line for the under point seems to be very low. And so I go for the under point. So most times I always go with the highest point and the lowest point provided. And the reason why I'm doing this is because sometimes, most times, when you are getting odds like 1.2 odds in over point and under point in basketball, most times if I use my classical strategy, which happens to be the basic basketball over point strategy, it happens to be a strict strategy that if you use it sometimes, it will be very difficult for you to get games that you will predict as over points, because the bookmakers most times they don't provide the line for if you are using that particular strategy. And now sometimes, if at all, I'll be able to see the lines that are aligned with the basic strategy. Most times the odds that I always get is always around this 1.2 odd. Right, so let us look the next one. So it is very simple using the odd line, because naturally basketball happens to be a sport that is not consistent. So in this situation, I can just say that the middle line is within this place. Yeah, I can say that the the average line is within this place. But if you look at this side, just do it like this. Just do it like this. Okay, now if you cross it like this, you can see that the odd allocated in the over point is smaller than what was allocated in the under point. And here, if you look at this place, you can see 1.82 here and 1.84 here. Now, because if you want to look at it, because if you want to check the average line point, you may get confused there. So the best is just to use it like this, and you can see that the bookmakers are favoring over point here. So you go for the over point, then you do the same thing for the next one. So this is the average line. So the bookmakers are currently favoring under point here. So let us run it like that. So in this particular section, don't forget this is only using the bookmakers odd. We are not using our risky line or the save line, and we are not using our the basic strategy of checking the average points scored by the two teams and the league average point. We are not checking that. This is basically using the odd against the bookmakers. So in this, we can see that the bookmakers favor the over point more. They favor the over point more. So on this happens to be the average line. So you can see they favor the over point more. And the next one that we have here, so this happens to be the average line, and the bookmakers are currently favoring the over point more. So alright, so that is all under the Mexico League, and we are moving on to the USA WNBA. So I will make this one fast. I will make it fast. So this happens to be the average line, and they are favoring over point. So the next one Let me look at the average line. So we have the average line here, and they are favoring the under point, you can see. So you go for the under, and for the next one, this happens to be the average line here, and they are currently favoring the I think, let me check. Okay, so this happens to be the average line, and they are favoring the over point. You can see it is lower than the under point, so we go for the over point for Chicago Sky against Las Vegas. So please, if you are watching this particular video, you can actually engage by editing out some of these particular tips. But one thing that I was just observed about it is that without even using the calculation, I believe something can still happen with using the bookmakers odd against them. Alright, so the average line that we also have here, we have 1.87, which is actually favoring the over point against the under point of 1.94. Now we go for the over point, and lastly, this particular line is also favoring the over point. You can see 1.86. You can see that. Okay, so we are able to get 9.43 odd with just the Mexico League games and the USA League games. Now checking the Australia Big V, you can see we are unable to get a good odd line. The line is very short, although we have the average line odd here, which shows that the bookmakers are actually favoring the over point. So but let us just skip that. At least let us check this. The line is also very small. At least it should be long a little bit. Same with this one, unless we want to actually risk some of these particular games. Same with this one. I'm coming. Same. Unless you are ready to risk, unless you are ready to take the risk. All right, so let us check this one. Okay, this is good. So look at the average line here. You can see the bookies are actually favoring the over point, so we go for the over point. So you check the line here also. The average line should be around here. Okay, so this happens to be the average line, and we are having 1.82, so we are favoring over point. So for this one, the bookmakers are actually favoring under point. For this one, you can see the line. So the odd for the over point is actually smaller than the under point, so they are favoring over point. This one is the same, so we are going to skip it. This is the average line. You can see they are favoring under point. So like that and like that, that's how it will keep going. This one seems to be very close to each other, so skip it. Look at this line, is favoring the over point. This one is favoring the under point. So please kindly make sure that you edit out most of these particular games because we are using the bookmakers odd against them. So this one is favoring the under point. This one is favoring the under point. This is the line. So it's favoring the under point. And this one is also favoring the under point. I think that's all that we have under the Australia League. And for the booking code, we have the booking code. Let me check the booking code for those people that are using the platform. So here we have it, just 20 games, 212 odds over and under point using the average odd allocation line provided by the bookmakers. It is very, very simple. And please, if you have any question regarding to this, kindly drop it in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, join our Telegram platform for more daily updates, and also you can join our private class for more special tips. See you guys in the next edition. Bye bye.